One of my favorite fish to catch in the fall months is a striped bass. Why? Well, a couple of reasons. Number one, stripers get big. You can catch great, big, long, powerful fish. Number two, they're great fighters. They'll give you a real hard pull for your money on regular tackle or light tackle. And number three, they're a real challenge to locate and catch. You've got to use good electronics. You've got to be able to get out there and scan the bottom and the surface of the water, see where the fish are, and then you've got to trick them into biting. We're going to talk about all of that coming up in the next half hour. Why? Because Fox Sports Outdoors is on the air right now.
You're watching the only program with weekly fishing reports and real-time outdoor news from the Southeast region. This is Fox Sports Outdoors.
Hey everyone, glad you're with us for this week's episode. Fall is here. Things have cooled off, the water temperature has cooled off. It's time to go fishing. One of the most active species in the fall are striped bass, and on this week's episode we're going to talk about how to locate and catch those at a reservoir or river system near you. I've got the NITRO Z20 and the Mercury Pro XS Optimax 250 ready to launch, and for our test tube this week, this is Lake Tawakoni. It's a great big lake. And it's an experimental lake because the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department regularly stocks hybrid striped bass and purebred stripers in this lake. And it's a great lake for us to pattern some electronics, show you some of the habits of stripers in the fall, what they're going to be doing, and how you can replicate that on a lake or river system near you and catch some stripers of your very own. While we're out on Lake Tawakoni today, we're going to be sending you around your local region for this week's fishing reports from our expert team of insider reporters. We're going to cover both freshwater and saltwater fishing for the upcoming couple of weeks to help you go out and be able to catch some. Right now, let's get things started back out on Lake Tawakoni, and let's get you all the way back to the FSN studios. Get things started with your weekend planner.
It appears both days this weekend will offer fair game fish activity according to the Salooner tables. Peak morning hours will take place before sunrise, and the best evening action should begin at 4:01 on Saturday and 4:58 on Sunday. Look for the sun to rise at 7:41 and set at 6:41. And evenings will feature a waning moon that is 89% visible. Stay with us for freshwater and coastal fishing information from around the region. Plus, I'll return with 2015 Bassmaster Classic champion Casey Ashley with this week's Ask the Pro question. We're coming right back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by MotorGuide's new wireless and easy-to-use XI3. XI batteries powering the world forward. Waypoint Marine, the Gulf Coast's leading saltwater boating specialist. And Strike King, designed by the pros, fished by you.
Let's show you off a little bit. There we go. Well, there's a start. Welcome back, everybody. We've made it out. There, you get it. There's a striper. Come up here, buddy. Come up here, partner. Well, we are off to a start. Look at that big old splash. He's pulling drag. He's got a mouthful of my big old spoon. Oh, yeah. Come up here. Let's show you off a little bit. There we go. Well, there's a start. Welcome back, everybody. We've made it out. And that one is a feisty dude right there now. He's got treble hooks all in his snoot. Just a beautiful, long, skinny striper right there for you. Put that one back. And I'm going to lock myself in position here because there's probably more. So all I've got to do is push one button, anchor, on my MotorGuide XI5 and get me stopped. Let me set the stage for you here. We've made it out on Lake Tawakoni, and fall has hit, folks. We've lost about 15 to 20 degrees the surface temperature of most all the lakes in our region. We're past the lake turnover, and that's the point in the season where the cooler water down at the bottom exchanges places with the hot water up at the surface, and now these fish are going to go to feeding. They haven't fed real well all summer. Stripers in the summertime typically feed twice a day. They feed early in the morning, first daylight, and late in the evening, the last light. Now we've turned the page into fall and these fish will feed all day long. We're already up in the midday, early afternoon hours, and you can still catch stripers this time of the day because the water's cooler and they're feeding all day long. Stay with us. Gonna get re-rigged here. We're off to a start. Cooler water, cooler weather, football season in full swing. What can be better? Good fishing in the fall.
This part of the program is brought to you by Foreshore Transportation, the simple solution to all your freight hauling needs. Foreshore can ship freight across the country or across the state. Whatever the load, wherever the destination, Foreshore gets it done fast, safe, and hassle-free. Well, the flounder have really kicked off the coast of Mississippi. It is really red hot fishing for these 1 to 3 pound flounder. They're being caught around rocks and rubble, shell bars. They like rising water, but any moving tide phase can be good. Most of them are being caught on jigs tipped with soft plastics like gulp. The redfish also are really on fire in the marsh areas. Biloxi Bay has been very good. The Pascagoula Marsh has been excellent. They like points, creek mouths, shell bars, that sort of thing. Ivan Strahan and Matt Holtz recently caught 45 redfish and flounder. They called those fish to keep their total slot limits of fish. But boy, that's great inshore fishing now, and it's happening along the coast of Mississippi. Wade fishing for trout has been good along the beachfront areas near Biloxi early and late in the day. Tuna fishing can be also very good well offshore Mississippi when anglers can get out there. You got to watch the weather. Cobia pretty much gone. There's a few lingering fish, but that's pretty much over for the season. Alabama is still suffering from some of the after effects of the hurricane. High dark water is around, but if you're going to go fishing, target redfish. There's some good action in the marsh grass edges, and there's still some big bulls on Dixie Bar at the mouth of Mobile Bay. In Georgia, there's plenty of trout, redfish, and flounder along the coast. The mullet run is still tickling along, and in southeast Georgia, they're still catching plenty of big tarp, and that should last through the end of the month. Redfish, slots, and bulls are in good supply. The slot fish are more on the inside. The big bulls are on the outside areas around the inlet rocks and jetties and the shoals. Use cut bait like mullet or ladyfish for those big bull redfish.
You catch one species, and you've got a chance to catch all three on back-to-back-to-back casts. There's one. It's a white bass. Big white bass though. Well, when you're out here doing this, you're going to catch a little bit of everything. When you're employing this technique in the fall, the stripers, the hybrid stripers, and the white bass will definitely all mix because they're all eating the same things, and they're all going to mix in the exact same areas. So generally speaking, you'll find one, you'll find all three, and most reservoirs that have hybrids and stripers also have white bass. So you're going to be catching a mixture, but these techniques that we're talking about will work on all three species. There's another bite, missed him. So hang in here, we'll fish around a little bit more, give you a couple of more pieces of information that may help you go out and, golly, that's bigger than a white bass. Well, I thought we were going to run out to a quick break, but obviously we're not quite yet. That is a hybrid striper, and a lot better one. There we go. Get in here. Get in here on that seat. Sit on that seat. No, you sit on that seat. Like I told you, sit down. He won't sit down. Okay, there we go. And you got to be really careful when you're handling, especially these hybrids. They're so powerful, and when you've got 3 hooks flopping around, you got to be really careful. That's exactly what I was talking about though, is that it's a cool little spoon I'm using there, but if you catch one species and you've got a chance to catch all three on back-to-back-to-back casts. So there's a nice hybrid for you right there. Okay, now before another one bites, let's get out to a fishing report here real quick, and we'll get you some more information very shortly.
Hey guys, this week's Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama report is brought to you by Orion Coolers. With more colors, sizes, options, accessories, and quality than any cooler on the market, it's the last cooler you'll ever purchase. Check them out online at orioncoolers.com. This is a really awesome time of year to be in this region right now. We've got beautiful weather, the leaves are starting to change colors. Well, the lakes and rivers don't have a ton of traffic right now. The temperatures are really comfortable, but most importantly, the fish are biting. If I'm in the Tennessee, Mississippi, and Alabama region, here's where I would go this week to fill my live well. First, let's start with Mississippi, and I'm gonna be generic this week. Sorry, but it's just what I would do. I would fish the northern Mississippi area for crappie. I know I call out individual lakes from time to time, but right now, this time of year, one little lake may be a little farther ahead than the other, and you want the one with the coolest water temperature. Those fish are gonna get more target oriented. They're gonna be in tighter groups, and you can catch a lot of crappie this time of year in the, say, like the Tunica area. In Alabama, no question, this month, this week, tomorrow if I was there, I'm going frog fishing on Gunnersville. There's nothing quite like catching a big old giant bass on a frog. And here's a trick. Dark colors early and late, and the clearest color that you can get bit on throughout the rest of the day. I like the lightest color that I can get away with, depending on water clarity. In Tennessee, I would fish Kentucky Lake, and I'm gonna throw a mega dog, a Strike King mega dog, a big, huge walking topwater bait. And I'm not out there to catch 100, although some days you probably can catch a lot. I'm out there to catch those big ones that are feeding on the big shad. Fall is here, fall fishing's awesome. We'd love to see you here. God bless.
There's one, got it. Let's see what I got this time. Oh, it's a white. It's a white. Well, hang with us. We're catching everything, man. I tell you, this swimming up technique's working for all three species. And the fish seem to be aggressively feeding. And once you get into an area like this, you want to lock down, stay there, because the fish will just roam and feed. And the later it gets in the afternoon, they'll tend to even push up shallower. I'm only up at about 12 feet of water right now, and they may even go shallower than that as we get a little bit later. Hang in there, we'll be right back.
Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by NITRO Performance Fishing Boats. Champions aren't born, they're made. Mercury Outboards, go boldly. Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, Alabama. Plan your fishing vacation and catch the details at orangebeach.com/fishing. And LOWRANCE and the new Hook 2, the world's easiest fish finder.
Push your button, let it go back to the bottom. Now I'm doing actually something a little different today than I normally do. There's one. Push the button, let it go back, hit the bottom. Hey everybody, welcome back. We are doing some fall striper and hybrid striper fishing today. And there's a small hybrid for you right there. And I want to kind of talk to you a little bit about what you need to be looking for. Where do you find these fish in the fall? Just a decent sized hybrid for you right there, nothing real big. You want to be looking for two things, structure and bait. So the structure is that we're on a big, long underwater ridge out here. You want to have something where the stripers and hybrids can herd the bait, push them up shallow onto some sort of an upslope. And you want that upslope in the fall to be fairly shallow. You want it to be 8, 10, 12 feet deep, something like that, falling off into 25, 30, 40 feet of water. And then secondly, you want to find bait. So I'll show you on the graph, on my chart, on my LOWRANCE Elite TI here. Then I'll show you on my other Elite TI. You can see these big balls of shad, big balls of bait fish. And they're herding those balls of shad up the sides of these humps. And you can literally just catch all three species throwing back right in the exact same area. Find those two things, structure and bait, and you'll find them in the fall.
Hey folks, it's time for your Carolinas Report, this week brought to you by the Crazy Sister Marina. Remember, we're the leader in water sports along the Grand Strand. We have been for years. We're located on the Marsh Walk in Murrells Inlet. You can find us very easy. Visit crazysister.com. Come down and book your trip for the fall. It's the best time of the year to fish. October, November, December, it doesn't get any better than that. Inshore, nearshore, and offshore, it's great fishing. We can take care of all your needs right here at Crazy Sister. Let's talk about saltwater side of things. And I'll tell you, for you trout fishermen and like myself, this is our favorite time of the year. Water temperatures are starting to drop. We're getting those 40-degree nights. The temperature is going to drop quickly. We've still got some shrimp around, and the trout are ready to bite. I tell you, get out with a great voodoo shrimp these days. Find those areas, cast and retrieve. Target those areas along shell banks where the bait's going to hold. Also, a live bait under a cork or artificial under a cork works great. Whether it's a popping cork or an adjustable depth cork will definitely produce some fish this time of the year. And also want to say the next couple weeks, we're going to start to see some real big king mackerel show up along the beach. We've got big schools of Manhattan that are moving their way south. You can find those schools of bait, get on top of them, spend some time. Bluefish, great live bluefish right now are a great bait out there. Also, the big Manhattan that are in those schools work well as well also. Get out and target those fish. You can have a great time. It's fall. Fishing is great. This is the Carolinas Report brought to you by Crazy Sister Marina. Remember, fish smarter, not harder, and keep your chaos organized.
There's one. Coming at me. Little striper. No, that's a little hybrid actually. So as soon as I get this fish unhooked, I want to show you something I'm doing that's a little bit different than my normal reeling technique. That's a kind of a long, skinny hybrid striper for you right there. Not a bad one. So here's what I do. If you're in a bunch of mixed fish like we are today and you're catching a bunch of smaller white bass and you want to try to pick through those and you want to catch just the hybrids or just the stripers, throw it out there, let it go to the bottom, and then as I mentioned, crank it 4 or 5 times, 6, 7 maybe, push your button, let it go back to the bottom. The hybrids and the stripers always want it on the swim. They want it swimming up. Push the button, let it go back to the bottom. You don't want to jig it and hop it off the bottom. White bass will get it that way. Now I'm doing something a little different today. A lot of what I've done today is I've let the wind carry me and I'm trying to cover a lot of water. So what I'll do is let the wind blow me along and then I'll lift that rod tip up real high like this and swim that bait up high off the bottom and then just let it go back down to the bottom. Let the boat drift along, swim it up again like this. See how high I've got my rod. And then drift along, let it fall back, and you just let the wind push you along and let the momentum of the boat cover a bunch of water, and you can find the fish that way. By just drifting down it, like in this case, this ridge that I'm fishing, I can cover the whole ridge by just letting the wind push me along, swim that bait up, drop it back. Swim it up again, drop it back, and you can cherry pick those hybrids and stripers out of these white bass.
You can always watch our latest episode on the front page of our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com. Catch up on past episodes by clicking the archive button and learn about fishing techniques and new gear at our how-to page. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter for new fishing videos every day. Simply search for Fox Sports Outdoors and click the like button on Facebook and follow button on Twitter. And watch a new episode every week on any device by downloading the free Waypoint TV app on your phone, tablet, computer, or smart TV. Fox Sports Outdoors is brought to you by Lew's. Feel the difference. Gene LaRue and Bobby Garland. We know bass and crappie from heads to tails. And by Glacier Glove. Stay outdoors longer with our gloves, hats, and shades.
Welcome back, everyone. It's time for the Ask the Pro segment where viewers get expert insights from professional insiders. This week's question comes from Alex, who asks, what are the features to look for when buying a new trolling motor? For the answer, we checked with 2015 Bassmaster Classic champion Casey Ashley.
I'm a simple kind of guy. I've been with MotorGuide my whole life, my whole career. I keep my fishing simple. I like MotorGuide because it's a simple deal. You put it in the water, it's never going to let you down, guaranteed, tried and true. So if you're looking for a trolling motor that's going to get you where you need to go and get back, MotorGuide's the way to go. Now, depending on what size boat you're going to buy, or the size boat that you got, or how much you're going to use, you know, if you're going to be a sure enough day in, day out tournament angler, you know, I would go with like the 36 volt model, 109 pound thrust, whatever it is that they got now. I don't even know what the new model is, what pound thrust it is, but 36 volt is the way you want to go, because you can get on it all day long and stay on it from daylight to dark. And I have been, you know, accused of forgetting to plug my trolling motor batteries in at night, so I have gone 2 days on them, but you know, it's never going to let you down, so you can't go wrong with MotorGuide.
Thank you, Casey. If you have something to ask one of the pros, visit our website and follow the Ask the Pro link to submit your question. Now let's take a look at this week's Big Catch winner.
We're back at the boat ramp, and it's time right now for someone to get their 15 seconds of fame in the Big Catch of the Week contest. Someone's big fish photo gets shown on television right now. This week's winner is Robert Reeves of Murrells Inlet, South Carolina, showing an 8 1/4 and a 6 pound largemouth bass. He caught both of these in the Cooper River near Charleston, South Carolina. If you'd like to be our next winner, just go to our website at foxsportsoutdoors.com, click on the Big Catch of the Week area on the right side of the homepage, follow the instructions and attach your big fish photo, and you might be our next winner. Next up on the gear segment, here's some of the gear you'll need to catch stripers and hybrids in the upcoming fall and even the winter months. You need some beefy tackle. This is the Lew's Team Lew's Custom Pro Speed Stick, and this particular one is 7 foot 11 inches long. It's got a lot of good heavy action here in the base of it, but a nice flexible tip as well. You can make big long casts with these swim baits and these spoons like we were throwing today. And I've got it paired with the Team Lew's Hyper Mag casting reel. You can cast these baits a mile with this reel. It's the best reel in the Lew's lineup that I've fished thus far. Now, as far as the baits are concerned, here are the ones that I would have handy on my rods and on my casting deck anytime I'm fishing for these fish. It begins on your left with a swim bait. That's about a 1/2 ounce to a 1 ounce lead jig head with a Jean LaRue Sweet Swimmer rigged on the back of it. A lot of action in that tail. Then I would have a couple of spoons. That's about a 3/4 ounce jigging spoon or a slab type bait, that chartreuse one. The next one over is a much bigger bait. That's about a 4 1/2 or a 5 inch long heavy jigging spoon. And then the next one is a Strike King Series 5 deep diving crankbait. Will dive 12, 14 feet, which is perfect for stripers and hybrids in the fall. No one gets through life without going through some kind of a rough patch or a difficulty or even a tragedy or a crisis. We as humans, when we get in those circumstances, we tend to either whine or blame or look for some kind of sympathy. Wise people I know do something very unusual. They look for what it is in that circumstance that they can learn from and that can make them a better person. It just may help them out the next time they encounter a similar difficulty. I heard a very wise person at one point say you can learn much more during life's trials than you ever can during life's triumphs. I hope you enjoyed our trip today to Lake Tawakoni, one of my favorite hybrid striper lakes in the entire region. And if you'd like to book your very own trip to catch these fish at this reservoir, you can do so by contacting Michael and Terry Littlejohn. The information you see on your screen. They stay on top of the stripers, hybrids, white bass, and during the winter months, the trophy blue catfish that swim out there. They get to be huge in this lake. You would enjoy a trip with some really nice folks. They've got an entire team that guides for them, and you can contact them at the information you see on your screen. Thanks for joining us this week. I hope you learned something that will help you catch these stripers and hybrids. They'll be on these patterns all the way through the fall and the early winter months until it gets really, really cold. Till next week, I'm Barry Stokes saying be safe, have fun. Bye-bye, y'all.